What's going on, everyone? I got a little more time, so guess what? I'm gonna spend it talking to y'all. I just love to talk. I don't know if you can't see it. It should be
Take the
obvious by
next
now.
right onto
You know what
University
I'm saying?
Parkway.
And I was the shy type growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I talked to people who were close to me. But over the years, God had developed a skill in me. I can talk to people and different folks. You know what I'm saying? From different
Continue
backgrounds,
on
different
University
ethnicities. Don't
Parkway for
matter.
3/4 of a
He
mile.
gave me that gift, and I'm glad he did, because it got me out of my comfort zone. A lot of y'all need to get out of y'all comfort zone. The reason why some of y'all are racist, because y'all's too scared to go to the other side and just talk to somebody, be like, hey, what's going on? See how to get to know them. Before I get started, I'm gonna tell you a quick story. Years ago, I ran into a older woman. She was white. It makes sense to the story. She was Caucasian. I was doing census work, and I knocked on the door. She wouldn't answer. I guess she looked out. She wouldn't answer. I was like, but something in my head said, keep knocking. I'm sure it was the Lord. So I kept knocking on that door, I was like, you know what? I'm ready to go. And right when I got ready to go, she peeked her head out. She was like, asked me what I was
In
doing.
a quarter
And I
mile,
told her I
use
was
any lane
here
to
do
turn
census
right onto
work and
Florida
this and that and
291 South.
And something just, she opened it. I could tell she was nervous. I saw it. I saw it in her. Then she finally let me in, and she said, have a seat. So you want something to drink? So she gave me some tea. She poured me some tea. We sitting down, and she was like, out of nowhere, I never really been around African American people, black people before. This is an older woman now, probably about 70. You know what I'm saying? I never hung around black folks before. She's like, how do I talk to y'all? I told one person this story, he like, man, I would have got mad. I'm like, get mad for what? That's an honestly legit, this woman didn't have to tell me that. But something had a lot to tell me. And I was like, hey, you talk to us like you talk to anybody else. But the thing is, people are too scared to go outside the fence. Maybe it's this, maybe it's the way they raised, or this and that. This goes hand in hand with the video I did in regards to groups. But sometimes you just got to go out your comfort zone. Your blessing can be coming from so many different directions. But if you just limit
Use any
yourself to
lane to
one
turn right
ethnic,
onto Florida 291 South.
no telling what you're limiting yourself to. I believe God called us to reach people, not black people, not white people, not Chinese people, all people, period, in general. Until you start to look at the world, you're going to see racism. You're going to see a lot of messed up things in this world, because people get discriminated on about everything. And you're supposed to be upset with that in every form, shape, or fashion. As a Christian, you're supposed to be upset with that. We're not supposed to go along with things of such matter. But until you get out your comfort zone and get out some of them groups you in, But before I get started, as always, place your cross on first, people. I just had to tell that right quick. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. You see, I look at things from a whole different perspective. Groups. I wasn't finna even talk about that, but he led me back to it. Groups. In this world, people, we are taught, we are raised a certain way. We're raised in a certain area. We grew up here. We grew up there. And the thing is, people, if you don't even realize it, most likely you grew up in a group. Now, you got a lot of people that grew up in interracial neighborhoods, like where there's some of everybody. But the majority of us haven't. I grew up in a place called Down the Bay in Mobile, Alabama. And it had black and white people, but the black people were here and the white people were there. It's great, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, what I see with a lot of people is, you stay stuck. So you grew up around black people your whole life, right? So you only feel comfortable around black folks. You grew up around white folks your whole life. So you only feel comfortable around white folks. You grew up around Chinese people your whole life. You only feel comfortable around your own kind. Your own kind. You see how the world has did this to us. My kind. Well, I was in the military, people, and I realized there's one kind. People got different belief systems and different ways they were raised and stuff. It's up to you to break those chains. Every chain that be broken in your life ain't really got nothing to do with you. Some chains got something to do with how you treat other people. You see, let's say you meet a racist person. Everybody that told you they was racist. Now I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I have met many so-called racist folks. I done heard people that tell me, hey, they talk about black folks like this. They talk about people like this.
In a quarter mile, use
But
the
in
right
my
lane to
presence,
take the I-10 West ramp.
glory be to God, I don't see it. They treat me as a human being. But they racist everywhere else. You see, a lot of people are upset about it because, like, man, well, that's how it is. Well, one thing about having God in your life and having your light shine, he'll make people who normally wouldn't like you deal with you. And then if you start to keep dealing with these different people or different groups and different backgrounds, they'll start to look at you differently. I don't want to be like that. I got one black friend. I got one white friend. I got one Mexican friend. This is ridiculous, people. It don't make sense. The first thing God did for me, I'm going to tell y'all a secret. I'm going to tell y'all a few things. First of all, I grew up in a predominantly black area. You understand? And all my childhood, I always dated within my race. I just got to talk about it because it is what it is. That's what I was wrong. That's what I was wrong the majority of the time. But even in school, I knew something was different about me.
Use the right lane to take the I-10 West ramp, then keep right at the fork.
Just look at any type of woman. I looked at them all.
Keep right at the fork.
Beauty is beauty. Attraction is attraction. It ain't got nothing to do with color. Why would I limit myself to a color? Just being real.
Continue for half a mile.
But that's on you. That's on you. You understand? But don't be racist. But you know why a lot of racism stay though? Because you marry somebody just as racist as you. Yeah. Same color as you, got the same belief system as you.
In a quarter mile, keep left at the fork. Follow signs for I-10 West, mobile.
You understand? But let me get back to this issue at hand. People from Mexico, they're like, I'm tired of living in Mexico. I'm tired of living in Mexico.
Keep left at the fork.
I'm finna move to the United States of America. And they move to the United States of America. And guess what they do when they get to the United States of America? They seclude themselves with their people. I like America, but I don't like Americans. So you mean to tell me God
continue on I-10 West for 52 miles.
Deal with the drug cartels and getting hung and being slaughtered from your family and all this other stuff. To come to this nation and just stick with one another. You don't even realize you're racist too. You don't even realize it. You done moved all the way from Mexico. You see, and the thing is, the kids that are growing up here, watch how the chain breaker starts. The kids that are growing up there might have your traditions and your belief systems. When they start going out in the world, they start realizing that the color of the skin don't really matter. And then they start going against the grain. Then they date somebody. They bring them home. Why you can't date people of your own kind? This happened in the Bible. They told Samson the same thing. Why would you don't date somebody, good Hebrew woman? I didn't heard of her. Why you won't never get you a good black African American woman? How about a good woman? I don't care what color she is. A good woman. You understand? Why she gotta be black? Why she gotta be whatever? Everybody got their precedent. Everybody got their taste in women. Everybody got their taste in man. A lot of y'all are limiting yourselves because of what you've been trained, where you've been grown up to. Why do all black people are called sellouts when they move from the hood? Oh, you forgot about us. I ain't forget about you. I saw opportunity and I took it. You understand? I moved away from it. And the thing is, people, I ain't got nothing against my own people. nothing against, actually, I ain't got nothing against people that stay in these type areas, but I grew up in the hood. I did, my whole life. I actually made it through. You understand? But don't you want to go somewhere where you don't have to worry about this or that? It's not really about the white neighborhood or the black neighborhood. Well, you ain't got to worry about foolishness. Don't you want to go anywhere where you don't got to worry about foolishness? Or you just going to barricade yourself in the house? Don't you want to walk down the street and have to worry about certain things? And they got nothing to do with really where you live. It's when you know better, you do better. Yeah, you can still reach the hood in so many different ways, but you ain't got to live there. But anyway, back to the issue. People move in from China, Chinese people, Japanese, Laotian, Thai, the list goes on. Move in, I'm tired of living in America. Come over here, seclude yourself again. Stay in your circle. I teach my kids to love everybody. The reason why I can't teach them to love one race better than the other, because they mixed race. They're black and white. So I teach them to love everyone, you know. But I still give them regulations. In some areas, all people are going to see you as is a black person. They don't make you racist, but that's what they're going to see when they first see people. Going to make an instant judgment call on you. But y'all are light, so they're going to automatically assume that you're mixed race. But don't let that change nothing about you. You are what you are. God made you that way. You're happy to be that way. But don't act like you're, you know, I can't teach my kids to hate black folks or to hate white folks. But to me, you shouldn't be teaching your kids to hate anybody. That's ridiculous to me. But people move in over here and they stay secluded. I don't like Americans. Why did you come here? Why did you come all the way from your native country that was so great and wonderful and build you a whole little area just for your people? That's a question. Take Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Daniel, many others, Israelites that were Hebrews, were sent to places they didn't work from. They weren't taught to hate them. They were taught not to observe their traditions and their statutes, and that's it. Love everybody still. God even tell us to house strangers in the Bible. Help strangers out in the New and the Old Testament. You know, why are we acting strange to one another? You understand? You know, ever since for the last, 17 years, I've been dating outside my skin color. And I always hit the question, I always get this, why don't you ever date anyone on your side? I get it all the time. You know, and I'm like, I don't see how you see. They can't see it. They're like, something wrong with you, man. They have oppressed us. They haven't oppressed me. I wasn't born in slavery days. I'm not gonna keep holding a grudge for something that happened to my ancestors years ago. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not, you can't even beat me in the head with that. I wasn't back there. Now, some of the people who lived back then, they have a right to be a little upset. But us, majority of us in this world ain't got no right. No right to hate somebody for the color of their skin. That's ridiculous. But that goes back to groups. You hang with certain people. You understand? It's like, one of the first things God did was took me out of my comfort zone. I grew up in the African American church, all black. Grew up in a black neighborhood. When I got out the military, I was led to this certain type of woman that happened to be white and have kids by her. And I moved away from black folks and moved into an area where white people were, and I had to get to know her white side of the family, and I started seeing people for people. But it started when I was in the military, for real. It started when I was in the military. You know what I'm saying? But I'm glad it happened to me. I don't regret nothing in my life. I used to. People like, oh, if you could do anything, oh, what would you do? As I grew in Christ, nothing. I don't want to redo nothing. You know, if you could redo certain things in your life, like my two daughters, my daughter and son, I mean, would not be here if I chose to redo a lot of things in my life. I can't even grasp the fact, think back that, you know what I'm saying, like in regards to that. I don't want to redo nothing. Everything works out. But people, we live in a world that's divided by groups. But the thing is, like, if I'm gonna say divided by groups, but the body of Christ is actually a group. One accord with the same way of thinking. You know, if you got one racist Christian, that mean all Christians are racist. Most likely that racist Christian ain't living according to the word. Do you understand? You know, I hate the fact that there's so many churches out there because black people want to go to this church. I can understand if you speak Hispanic and you got to go to a Hispanic church. That makes perfect sense. You know what I'm saying? But if you know English, it doesn't matter. You don't have to stay with your own kind. You understand? What he told Abraham, he said, leave from your father's house to a land I will show you. He took him away from everything that he knew, where he was raised, his background. He had to trust the Lord when he went out. Just pay attention to that. Leave your family around. Leave your family. Go here. And then the one family member he brought along stayed in trouble. Lot stayed in trouble. You know, it's a saying that whom the Lord loves, he separates for a while. He prunes you. He pulls you away from everything and then pushes you back in it. And that is true. I hate racism. You know, being a Christian, I hate talking to so-called Christians that are racist. It bothers me. I'm like, man, black people, white people that had us in bondage for so long. I hit them with stupid questions like, are you working? Do you have a job? Do you have a house? Do you eat food? But you know, no, okay then. I don't want to hear it. Scratch that out of your head. But you see, it's so one-sided because they'll talk about all the things a white person will do to you, or the other one race will do to their race, but they won't talk about all the foolishness that go on inside their own people. They keep it in-house. You understand? You think Asian people don't beef amongst each other? They do. You think white people don't beef amongst each other? They do. You think white people don't kill one another? They do. You think Asian people don't lie to one another? They do. Every race that's born in sin, that's all of them, do the same things to their own people and to others. You understand? Take North Korea and South Korea. They both Korean. But one side hate the other side. What in the world is going on with this? This is ridiculous. You know, take us Americans, we think all Asians look alike until you call one of them something they ain't. Are you Chinese? No, I'm not Chinese. I'm Korean. Well, it looks the same to me though. You know. But I done come to the realization as far as race and things like that. I look at myself in the mirror a lot of times. What am I? Most people know, you're black.
Welcome to Alabama.
Every black person ain't got hair like I got. Every black person ain't light like me. What am I? A human being. I had to come to the realization of that. My mother was high yellow. My father was dark skinned. Look at me. I'm in between. Where did high yellow come from? I asked myself all questions like that. Then I started hearing, well, you know you're part Native American. Oh, okay. Well, you know you're part this and part that. If you was to trace it, I'm not doing the ancestors. I don't give a damn what my ancestors were. I don't. It don't bother me. Because I don't know what they went through or what they did. All I know is I'm here. And my lineage got me here. But I'm not studying it. Why? Because it's irrelevant. You know, I want to find out where I came from. I'll be searching forever. But I know I came from God. How about that? Let me pause and continue.